Hey guys, welcome to Why Excellence Matters. My name is Wes. This is Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt.
That is Eric.
Hi.
And that's Jess.
Hey.
We intentionally put a buffer between us so the baldness didn't, collide.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. A lot of reflection. So, I just want to thank you guys for joining us in this session. You could have chose one of the other two awesomely cool ones, and you chose us. So, I just want to introduce ourselves real quick and what we do. So, like I said, I'm Wes. I get to lead production here at LifePoint.
Hey, I'm Matt. I get to serve on staff as one of our designers, and I have the privilege of serving on the weekends with our worship team.
I'm Eric. I'm the music director for the church. I help kind of resource and lead all of our worship directors, not lead them, but resource the worship directors so that they have everything they need for all their bands, practice tracks, chord charts, Ableton sets, all that kind of stuff. And then I also run our studio in the back here.
Yeah. I am Jess. I am the content director for LifePoint Church, so I get to work with the VisCom team, and then I also serve on the worship team on Sundays.
So collectively, we represent. Thank you. So collectively, we represent the teams that get to make the content for Sundays, and also the teams that make Sundays happen. So, and looking around this room, so do you. So, really, most of you in the room know us in some way, shape, or form. And I just want to thank you also for coming tonight, because it's just really cool to get to share an evening like this in a community like this. I don't know, like I said earlier, this community is something that can build and multiply generations of creatives and having their place and all that good stuff. So, but we're going to talk about excellence. So I'm going to hop into that. I'm not going to sit that much because I might go to sleep. We got up at 4. So 21 days of prayer is amazing. But yeah, so we're going to hop in. So really, the 3 things we want you guys to take away from this session is: what is excellence? Why does it matter? And how do you grow excellence? So some handlebars at the end.
Can I interrupt you already?
Absolutely.
This is going to be a fun session. And you guys are going to talk back at us, okay? So if you have questions, there will be questions at the end. So write down your questions.
Yeah,
and let's give it up for Wes, about to give the best speech of his life.
Yeah, Wes.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Great
Cool. So
haircut.
let's define excellence. So I love bullet points and all that good stuff, so I'm going to hit some for you, okay? So excellence is simple. So excellence is self-defined, and it starts with this one answer to a question. Did I do my best? Mm-hmm. Did I do my best? Yeah. I can't tell you, Steve, if you gave a full service of excellence, but you can tell me if you did your best. That's something that's on your heart from the beginning. Excellence begins in how you show up. Are you prepared? Are you on time? Do you have the right attitude? At LifePoint, we have 4 cultural values. Love God, love people, excellence, and attitude. They all kind of weave within each other, and excellence is a choice. It is a choice. Yeah. Like I said, it's how you show up. When you wake up in the morning, you don't just wake up and exist. You make a intentional decision of what are you choosing joy? Are you choosing anger? Are you letting yesterday's failures or hurts or pains influence that day? It's how you show up. It's a choice that you make. Yeah. Number 2, excellence is driven by humility instead of pride. Yeah. So Pastor Daniel was talking about the Tower of Babel. So good. Why did God strike that tower and scramble the words? What was their motivation? Yeah. It was pride. It wasn't humility. They went to that tower to build that tower to touch God because they knew they could, because they wanted to know what He knew. They built that out of pride. And that's not what God wants for us. It's not what He wants from us. He wants a clean heart where we choose to be humble. It's having the mentality of I get to. Always seeing life as an opportunity. You guys get to be here tonight. I get to be here tonight. I got to wake up at 4 this morning and come create an environment with excellence. It could have been more excellent, but create an environment with excellence for people to come into this room, lay cards on this stage, weep all over this place, and meet Jesus in a deeper way.
Yeah.
I got to do that.
Yeah.
Now, there was one point in my life where I had to do that. And in that point in my life, I was choosing pride. I was choosing to wake up with a different mindset. I wasn't choosing joy. It's not an auto. Like, you can't go on auto, you know? Like, the other day, fun story, I was on auto, and I thought that stop sign was a yield sign. I learned very fast that it was a stop sign. No matter how much I wanted to get to donuts, that stop sign got me pulled over. And I was choosing to just go. Like, I wasn't being intentional. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't choosing to be present when driving. And you can't do that. It doesn't work out very well. And then lastly, for defining excellence, like I said first, because it's kind of like all wrapped in one, is did I do my best? Did I do my best? For everything that you guys do, this stuff is so much further than church. It's so much further than Life Point or Crossroads or I-5 or whatever church you serve in or whatever house you're from. It's so much deeper than that. Did you do your best at work? Did you do your best at work for your boss? Or did you do your best at work for you?
That's good. Come on.
Because guess what matters? It matters what you're doing for you. It matters how you're working wholeheartedly for the Lord when you're working for man. So evaluate yourself. Did you do your best? Who'd you do it for? Okay? So outside of defining excellence, so once again to wrap up, how you show up, it's driven by humility, the mentality of I get to, and answering the question, honestly, did I do my best? Now, there's this thing that when we were planning this, like we started bouncing ideas back and forth, and this is excellence, right? Well, sometimes do we gauge ourselves or work towards something different called perfection? Mm-hmm. Jess was sharing a story with us on like some things that she was brought up in and encouraged by, and it was awesome.
So I was taught from a very early age to do things with excellence. My dad would always read Colossians 3:23 through 24. It says, "And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ." Another version says, work at it with all your heart. Another says, don't just do the minimum that will get you by, do your best. The scripture it's true, but at a young age, it put something inside of me that caused me to strive for perfection. And as humans, we fall short sometimes. And I was just constantly disappointed with myself because I never reached what I thought was excellence or perfection. And Pastor Daniel tells us all the time that failure is mandatory. We can't move or learn or grow if we do not fail and make mistakes. So excellence is not perfection. Like, we are going to make mistakes on a Sunday. We're going to play the wrong thing. We're going to push the wrong slide. We are going to make mistakes, but that's okay. As long as we learn from it and we try to do better next. So just be encouraged that excellence does not mean perfection. It just means that you're doing your best and you're doing it for Him.
Great. So good.
And like that mentality, any of your favorite artists or any of your favorite athletes or musicians or like whatever you look at, they're only there because they failed a lot. They failed a lot and they saw each failure as an opportunity. None of you probably here at work that failure is mandatory, because that's probably like, I don't know, like a fireable offense or something crazy like that. But like in all honesty, like where everyone's at right here, there's something that someone told you couldn't do, or something that you fell short of and you grew from it that built you to the person that you are today. You know what I'm saying? So just be encouraged. Failure is not an option. It's mandatory. Something that is important with excellence is growing, okay? For all of us, what we think today is excellent is probably way further than what we used to think, right? I have one of our team members. His name's Ryan. He's our film director. When him and I first started working together, I would talk about Michael Bay films. Okay, so formerly I was the director of film and I love movies and all that good stuff. But I would talk a lot about Michael Bay and the entertainment behind that. And Michael Bay directed, Transformers. That's like his most famous thing. He's known for this thing called Bayhem. It's just like crazy action. But Ryan and I got into a really engaging conversation over the difference in entertainment and art. And hear me on this. We wrapped up at the top talking about humility versus pride. So hear this from a humble standpoint, not the prideful standpoint. There was a time in your life where McDonald's tastes really good. And then you got your first job, which was McDonald's. And then you got your second job. And after college and, you got a real job and you started to be able to afford something nicer, right? And affording something nicer, how many of you would, this might not be super helpful, but how many of you would first choose McDonald's? Favorite restaurant, is it McDonald's? Okay, Wyatt, it's your favorite restaurant. See, I knew that was going to be an answer.
Kind of point proven.
So, yeah, point proven. As you get older, your taste will change. And what Ryan and I got into a conversation of is, for myself, my taste isn't McDonald's anymore. And the more you expose yourself to things that improve your taste, that call you to greater, when you get in rooms that are better than yours, when you get around friends that are better than you, when you find people to place in your life, your taste grows. McDonald's used to be my best. I used to get like 4 McDoubles, 2 blah, blah, blah. Like, I would stack that thing out. I told you I play football. I didn't stop eating that way after I quit, so that was the problem. But so, your taste grows. If you want to become more excellent, get around things that are better than you. Watch films that are better than yours. Listen to music that inspires you how to write better. Grow your taste. That's the only way your excellence will grow, is if you intentionally grow it. Okay? So let's do some handlebars on how you can grow your excellence. So growing excellence first is taste making. Alongside of that, it's growing your audience. It's consistently asking yourself, did I do my best? And re-engaging your mind in who you're doing your best for. So all the things I taught on, you work backwards as your action steps. You want to have the mindset in all that you do is, am I doing my best? If you can walk into an environment, I'm going to talk in my language. We just did an event, okay? In that event, I could list off a bunch of things I saw that could have been better, but in the moment, in the live experience of us changing clocks live and calling new cues and Eric leading the band and all those different things, it was excellent. It was absolutely, in the moment, our best. Can we do better later? Yes. What was excellent tonight will not be what's excellent next. Right. So using your experiences to grow your environment also. So cool. Well, you guys want to talk, or let me do some Q&As?
Does anybody have any questions that you're just kind of bubbling out with?
You cover a lot.
Yeah, what's up?
Luke, will you be my runner, or Shannon?
I can do it. Who's the other question? So I find.
Can we do a little? Can you say your name, where you serve, and what
absolutely.
And what you do?
My name's Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Louder. Louder. My name is Michael. I work at the Fredericksburg campus on the production team. Run something called Master Control right now, which we're still trying to figure out exactly what that is.
You're a nerd, dude.
Trying to make sure all that goes smoothly. So in my life, work life, production, church life, parenting, anything I do, where I'm in one of these cycles of excellence, and this is an absolute spiritual truth. I do want to lay it out there. Before I came, one of the reasons I knew that the values of this church were so on point is because these are the exact seeds that God had started placing in my life over the last few years too, and it was like, oh, wow, yeah, this church has the same values. Well, no wonder. We serve the same God. We're inspired by the same things. That's the Holy Spirit at work. When you see synchronicities between things that the Lord is telling you in your own heart and in your own life, and then you get around a bunch of other spiritual people, and it's like, wow, same thing, same idea. Great minds think alike, especially when they're connected to the Holy Spirit. So there's a little something there.
If anyone else has questions, you can just ask them to Michael.
Yeah, no, sorry. I do this. I apologize. So I get into a cycle where I do something, I feel excellent about it, and then I immediately go, yay, me. And then I'm stuck in a tiny little bubble for a minute of like self-praising, pride stuff. And then immediately, I'll turn around and I'll trip and I'll fall on my face and I'll be like, oh, never mind. So as people who are in constant pursuit of excellence, how do you avoid that moment of letting your achievement, that excellence, how do you redirect it? How do you make sure that you don't get stuck in that?
I'll take it. I can't resound any more with that than I do right now. Like, because that's something that I've been trapped in for so long, is like, I'll make something, and like, if it's a graphic, like, heck yeah, that poster looked sick. I love that thing. But one thing that Pastor Daniel taught us is that it is never a me mentality, but it's a team mentality. And so when we're serving on Sundays or we're doing whatever at work, it's the team. It's, I didn't do this, the team did this. So one thing on the design team that we have is, it's never like, if I owned a project, it's not Matt's project. It's the team's project. I may have led that, but the team was supporting me in that. And we couldn't have achieved that without being unified, just like Pastor was talking about earlier. And so no matter what we do, it's a team pursuit. And so by default, that's a vent of pride. It gets rid of it. Because I'm not in this alone, because I didn't do this alone. There's a whole group of people that built this platform to where I'm able to do my best. I didn't build it, but it was built before me. So it's bringing the whole team with you on that.
There's a bit of, I'm with you. I'm kind of half that way, and then half like, I'm like, everything I make kind of sucks. And to me, on both ends of the spectrum, it is a perspective game where I have to continually ask the Lord to keep giving me perspective of what is the purpose. Exactly what Matt's saying, like, it's the team aspect. This is not, the end game for me isn't to finish a song or finish a track. The end game for me is for someone to hear it and experience and know God. You know what I'm saying? So it's so hard when you're in it and you're doing it because you're working so hard and you're like, I'm trying to be excellent. But it's like all keep kind of thinking about yourself and trying to do that whole thing. But it's like the whole time is, for me, for sure, is a perspective game. I was like, God, let me see the bigger picture here. Let me see why I'm actually doing this and that kind of stuff. I'm not good at it, but that's kind of the perspective game that I have to play. And that's always my prayer for myself, is that I can see the bigger picture of the whole thing. Questions? That was fun. I hope someone else has another question.
I love questions.
Don't do anything alone.
Yeah.
Work, Life Point, like not work or Life Point, life. Just don't do it alone.
Yes, so good.
The more you ask people to be a part of it, it's not yours anymore.
Come on.
Luke. Hey, I'm Kenan, and I serve on the worship team, play some stuff. Super cool. Well, nobody else has a question, so I haven't really developed my question all the way, so just bear with me.
Team Kenan.
Yes. So one of the biggest, I think, in my opinion, like controversies and like divisions in the church right now is, or just like in the last like 10, 15 years, is like the incorporation of like a lot of kind of different technologies, like lights and haze, fog, whatever you want to call it, tracks. The tracks is probably the biggest thing, like using clicks and loops during worship. And I feel like in a lot of of situations, it's kind of led to this kind of spirit of performance and like just kind of showiness, and it's kind of gross. It just makes me kind of feel weird. But like I've had a lot of conversations with people that don't go to Life Point or have been like once, and they're like, oh, it was like a rock concert, and church shouldn't be like that. So how do you, one, distinguish performance, like the spirit of performance and like being fake and all of that stuff, from being excellent, doing your craft well, and using like things that we use, like lights and tracks and whatever? And then also, how do you communicate that to someone who may already have like preconceived notions, like, oh, well, your church uses like this certain kind of lighting, and like, or like this sound system is like way too, like, this is not First Church. You know what I'm saying? How do you communicate that to someone?
How are you still able to worship that way? When you come in on Sunday morning, you have tracks in your ear. I mean, you're the one who introduced us, like you and Austin introduced us to Kempers. Like you just took us from analog amps to fully digital amps that you can put presets on, where you can literally set up, take a thumb drive, and transfer data and make life easier. Why was that passionate for you? Like, why did you love that? Looks to me like a form of worship. The way that a lot of us get to show love and art, I mean, everything that we do, everyone in this room, your art, no matter what it is, like, you are an amazing photographer for all different kinds of settings and foods and all different kinds of things like that. And every single thing that you do is worship. You know, Austin, the way that you set up a CG on a Sunday morning and you run it and you live it and you love it, that is worship. Is it a hymnal? Maybe. It's just different. It's 2019. Can you use hymnals? Yes. Can you use ProPresenter? Yes. What did Pastor talk about earlier when he was talking about what was written in the Old Testament, how people will use that one verse and say, see, that's why you should be a vegan. I'm a vegan, by the way. You can't base everything off of a revelation, like a single revelation at a single point, a single piece of scripture. And when I would encourage you that when someone's trying to intentionally or unintentionally instill divisiveness into your spirit about what you have been called to, not in this house, but in the house, I would first check, like first in yourself, be like, all right, I know what I'm doing is what I'm called to. Yeah. Don't let people like rock you off your foundation. Be firm. Okay? All of this stuff is just a method. It's literally just a method. My whole job is built on what you're saying that people think is a show. I'm telling you right now, if it was a show, I wouldn't be here. I came to Life Point, true story. My first Sunday at Life Point was Easter 3D. And I sat in the auditorium and I said, this is a show. I said, this isn't church. And then I met Foodie, who at the time was our everything for production. And he's still my everything for production. But I met him and I said, it can't be a show if that guy's running it. Show them that it's not a show. Show them love, be Jesus in your interactions, and show them your worship.
I'm Jason. I serve on the worship team, prayer team, and security team at Culpeper. Thank you. My question for any or all of you is your personal experience. As we're striving for the excellence that you're talking about, Wes, I've found in my personal walk that it became very easy to allow pride to creep in on, well, I know I'm doing this level, but no one else is seeing it, recognizing it, and elevating me up. And it took some really, really good people of this church to very lovingly but very firmly kick the stool out from under my feet and put me on my back. And I just want, if any of you have had any of that experience, if you could share walking through that and how to keep someone from very easily getting caught in that snare.
Yeah, thank you for sharing and for your honesty. Pride is like, it's always there. And I think it's important to just be honest and be real with yourself and God, and knowing that pride is an issue for everyone. Some people more than others. But especially there's a platform setting too involved. I know you play bass, I know you're on stage a bit, and I've been on stage at a church since I was like 16, 17 years old. Small stages that I'm thankful were very tucked away and no one saw. But I still felt like I was cool, you know. But I think it's important to what Pastor Daniel was talking about tonight with the team mentality of pushing together, and kind of what Matt was saying about if he's owning a project and if he's doing something, it's the team's project, it's not my project. Coming back to that we aspect of, as much as you can, taking the focus off of what I am doing right now for this. I think a lot of that too can be insecurity, and I want to make sure that I'm getting affirmation from people. Am I doing a good job? Is this good enough? And all that stuff. But the more and more you're able to go out of your way to think, or to, it could even be, there's times where I will just go talk to somebody else on stage. I'm like, I just need to go talk to somebody else because I'm in my head right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'll go talk to the keys player and be like, hey, what's up, man? How's your day? And just like me hearing how their day was is going to take the attention off of myself a little bit. But then also, this has been the bigger thing for me, and what I've been trying to get to is there's a pre-prep to any time I have to get on stage, where I have to understand that this is not a stage, it's an altar. Yeah. That this is an altar of worship to God, that there is a reverence to this plastic stage thing. Yeah. It is an altar of worship to God. It is a sacrifice. And so the more that I'm able, there is a stark difference between the days I get on the platform and I've had my time with the Lord, and there is a stark difference between the days that I get on the platform and I have not. I remember one of the first Sundays, I've been on staff 2 years, and it was the first time I think I was on stage, and we did a flow moment with Pastor in a ministry time. It was like a 9:15 service. And I had seen it before. I wasn't even MDing. I was just playing bass at the time. And after the 8 o'clock service, we have a meeting with Pastor just to say, hey, how was this service? Do we need to make any adjustments for the rest of the day? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like pumped. I was like, man, that was incredible. We flowed. It was awesome. We didn't do that at my other church. It was really cool. I get back there. I'm like ready to give people high fives. And they were like, just wasn't quite there. And I was like, what did I miss? What did I miss? And the first thing, everyone was starting to kind of like, was it this? And then Pastor Daniel looked at Bertram and was like, are our teams praying in the morning? Like, how was our VIP in the morning? How was this? And it was immediately always checking the heart of the prep before the service, not did we hit a lighting cue? Did somebody hit a wrong note? It was, is our heart right, and are we giving it the reverence that it needs? And so immediately it was a heart check for me to say, I want to pull weight spiritually on the platform, even if I am just playing bass. I am leading worship by my preparation and what I'm contributing as a team member right now God's going to do what he's going to do, and he's going to get his glory because he is holy and he is on the throne. But I would like him to get his glory because of me, not in spite of me. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to, so now it's been a big check to me to always have a preparation time. And for me, it looks like waking up at like 4 instead of 4:30 on a Sunday morning. You know what I mean? And it's like, it doesn't take much. And sometimes it's on the car ride. Sometimes I get up at 4:15 and it was late. But like there is a check that I have to hit in my spirit where I need to stop, drop my shoulders, and just say, God, thank you so much for who you are. Thank you for what you've done for me. Thank you that I get to do this. Thank you for your grace, that you want me, you love me, you're not angry at me. Just all of these truths that I have to tell myself to get myself in a place. And for a while it felt a little dumb and it felt a little fake, but now I don't feel like I can live without it. I had to kind of just get in the rhythm of doing it to kind of fight that feeling of pride and to kind of fight that feeling a bit. So, anybody else?
Spoke right into it.
Luke, right here. We're going to
question.
do this question.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Kelly. I go to the Fredericksburg campus. Anyways, I just wanted to address the comment about when people ask about our worship experience and whether or not it may or may not seem like it's not worship or that it's a show. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times we forget that God requires of us a sense of atmosphere. So that atmosphere is set. I'm going to get this wrong, but like David, he played the harp, right? Yes. And he was a man after God's own heart. Yes. So at that time, the harp was special and very part of the culture. And now the culture is lights and music and all of those things. And what Pastor said tonight, which is so true, we have a creative God, a God who created all of us. So he's very creative. As Christians, we should be on the forefront of creativeness in music, in lighting, in sound, all of those things. And so we're not putting on a show, we are worshiping, and the people up on the stage are leading us in worship. And so when people say, oh, they're using tracks in their ears, they're leading in the excellence of how to do that. Yeah. And so that's where you go back and say, not only are we worshiping, we're doing it the very best that we possibly can by the technology that God has created, and we have built that, and we're doing that. We're going to use it to our best ability. And I think in everything that we do, it should be excellent. And so I hope that helped. But
yes,
atmosphere, and it should be in anything you see, smell, hear, taste. And that's how you lead the culture going forward. You have to lead the culture going forward, because if you don't, they're going to leave us behind.
Jenna, I told you the Cox family needed to be on the team.
Come on now.
Look at them. We have one more question, and then we're going to, yep.
Sorry, I just want to add something. Thank you so much. That's very great. I do want to speak to it a bit though, because there is also a culture of with that. If that is ever given to you, I encourage you that sometimes even if we do have the right answers, I think the bigger thing in that response to that person is absolutely going to be love. And sometimes you can absolutely have every right answer, but they still may not even hear it. So engage it and use the Holy Spirit to discern and all that stuff. The heart is to never prove what LifePoint is doing is right. The heart is always to say, we're just going after Jesus, and this is kind of what it is. So just as it's a social media game too, with all that too. But that was I appreciate you so much. That was such a great thing. That was so good. And I can feel your heart too. That wasn't me saying you did. I can feel the love in your heart for that too. I just think it is so rampant with social media and all that stuff too. We're like not interested in a battle, but more so in just in people. And that's why we do the lights and the smoke and the things anyways, is for people. So thank you so much. That's great.
Hi, my name is Danny. I've been going to LifePoint for about 5 years now, but I've never actually served on any committee at LifePoint, and it's kind of getting to the question I'm going to ask. But part of the reason I haven't is because I've always, justified, having to give 100% at work. I can't do it. I'm too busy right now. I've always tried to put 100% into that, but the bad thing is that I feel like I overexert myself. So I guess my question is, how do you balance, serving in church and then also trying to, do your best at work as well?
Okay, this is going to be super fun, and this definitely has to be the last one because it's going to be really fun. All right. How are you currently filling your spiritual tank?
Pretty close to empty.
Okay. So you're coming in on Sunday. Are you in any kind of like group, small group, life group?
I've done some here and there. I did one in the spring. I've done them throughout, but a lot of things that have happened, 2 out of the last 4 groups I've had, they've had to stop meeting because we haven't had enough people or, something like that. So.
Okay. Right now, like for you, outside of a Sunday morning, who's pouring into your life? Okay. So in your flow of an everyday, your tank's empty, right? If you go to the gas station and you only put like $3 in the tank because you only got $3 in your pocket, it's not going to take very far before you need to go to another gas station. If you're going to church on Sunday and you're literally plugging in and you're unplugging when you leave and you're waiting to get fuel when you go back, you're not staying connected to a source, right? I'm believing that tonight here, you're going to find someone. Let me do this right now. I want to encourage you to come to one of us after this and let us know the joy and the love that God has put on your heart and whatever you want to do. And I promise between the 4 of us, we'll connect you with someone who can speak life into you, who can call greater out of you, and who can be that person that helps you attain a battery and not a plug.
Thank you.
This thing does not need to be plugged into work. In fact, there's these awesome things now that are portable chargers. If you get plugged into a serving group, if you get plugged into a small group, that is a place where you can be loved, known, and grown. Like, God's going to just do something radical in your life. Where do you work?
I'm a teacher.
Great. So what grade do you teach?
I teach middle school and high school. So.
God bless you. So the thing is all day long, you have very few interaction with people who can actually hold a conversation with you, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
You're probably longing for someone that can look you in the eye and say, I get it. We have that for you. I know Steve works up north. I know Jen works in Dahlgren. Yeah. I know Brittany every day telecommutes from home and does all different kinds of stuff. I know crap, I just met you tonight. Name. Yes, next to Victor. Scott. I know Scott just started a new job that is absolutely full-time. He's been in ministry for years. He's started working for the government again. I mean, I know like most of you in here, Chris, hi Chris. Chris does landscaping for a living. All these people have a lot to do. And the thing is like our pastor, Pastor Daniel, I mean, clearly he does this. This is not a Sunday-only job. He does this. He's got 4 kids. He's in a doctorate program right now. He is overseeing a college, growing a college, making sure we don't say dumb things, like all different kinds of stuff he oversees. The thing is when you get tapped into a source that can go with you, when you get the Spirit buried in your body, you ain't going to run out. So let's get you connected, okay? What was your name again?
Danny.
Danny. Thank you.
My wife is a kindergarten teacher.
Oh, bless her.
And yeah, well, she would say the same thing about middle school, so it's fine. And this will probably be the last thing on the list because those are all the first things on the list, but it also will make you a better teacher. And we need really good teachers. So church and work are not enemies. You know what I mean? So they don't have to be enemies of each other at all. They will help each other out a lot.
Empty tank is a short fuse. So awesome. So thank you guys for being a part of this breakout. Hopefully it did something for you, maybe engage you a little bit deeper. Dana's going to be a part of group. She's going to be a part of a small group. We're going to get you some friends. Okay, what campus are you at? This one? Girl. See Brittany right there? Brittany, say hi. Hi, Brittany. We have a small group you can serve in on Sundays. It's called production. But for real, though, whatever you want, we'll make it happen, okay? Great. So you guys like tonight? Was it good? Okay. So save your date for November 13th. It's the second Wednesday in November. We get to do this again. I don't know where or which campus we'll be at or whatever, maybe here, but save the date. And for any of you who are in this room, all four of us are entirely available to you. If you ever want to talk to us outside of here, maybe you're scared or you don't know what to say or whatever, our emails are our first initial and our last name at lifepoint.org. So I am W. Rose, like the flower, at lifepoint.org. You have M. Higgins at lifepoint.org. E. Hall, like a hallway, at lifepoint.org. And J. Andres at lifepoint.org. That one's a little hard, but Andres, Andres. So thank you guys so much. I'm believing that tonight's going to start something in our community. If I can encourage you with anything on top of like being here next time and all that stuff, like this is community, okay? But this community doesn't grow if you don't grow it. As Pastor said tonight, like when we have conception, when like the intimacy grows into conception, we're called to multiply. These empty seats, don't let them be empty next time. That's not just on us. Bring your friends, grow your teams, and love people. Love you guys. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Hope you have a good one.